Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Laura Onibode, the Ready to Wear Boss. And if this is your first time on my YouTube channel, I'd like to implore you to subscribe and also to turn on the notification button so that you can get access to videos whenever I create them. Today I'm going to teach you how to create a Google form. A Google form is a very powerful tool that you can use for gathering information in your business. My students in my masterclass made a request because they noticed that I use this often and they asked for me to teach them, and I decided to make it more available to more people. So a Google form is a very powerful tool. You can use them to create questionnaires, you can use them to create quizzes, you can create databases, you can create a list, contact list, email list from it, and the usefulness is endless. Today, I'll be using a smartphone to show you how to create a Google form. But you can also use a laptop or a desktop to do the same. In fact, I believe it's even easier on a laptop or a desktop because all you need to do is to open your Google account and then you get the option to create it there. But for you to create it from a smartphone, you also need to have a Google account, and then you go to your browser. I'm using Google now, and then you type forms.google.com and press enter. And you'll be taken to the form. By default, the form appears and is untitled, and it's also, the color is also purple, but I'll show you how you can make changes. So in order for me to change the title of my form, I go to the untitled here, and then I can write the name I want. So I'm going to write size chart as the name of my form, and once I write size chart and enter, that will become the name of the form, and the form will become titled and a titled form. Okay, so once you've created your form, and you can now format how you want your form to look like. So you can add a description to your form. I'm going to add a description and say, this form is used for gathering information about size charts. So that's my title. You'll notice that the name I gave the form has appeared here. You can also format your description, even your name you can format. You can decide to make it bold. You can decide to make it italic. You can make it underline. You can add a link. You can also remove whatever you have done. So once you are done, you've given name to your form, you've given description. Let's go up and look at some more features. So here you have this color palette symbol, and I'm going to press it now. It gives you the option of changing your text and also to change the color and to add an image to your header. So you can change your text if you want. I can decide to change my text, the text of my header, the text of my question, and the text of my text. You can just choose whatever you want. I've changed them, and then you can decide to add an image. Click here to choose an image. So you'll be given the option of choosing from the theme. There are preset themes in the phone on the form that you can use, or you can upload from your system. So let me choose one of the preset headers images. So you can just go through, decide which one you want to use, and then you choose. So let me just choose one here. Let me choose this. So I choose this as my header picture, and then I can click insert and it will be inserted. So I can also choose the colors I want. My color was purple. By the time I chose the header, it will choose colors that complement. I can still decide and say, no, I want a different color. So I choose a different color for the form. I also choose a background color. I can choose a different background color. Once you are done with all of that, you can go ahead and apply to your form. You can now see that my form is looking different from the way it was originally. So I've changed the theme for my form. So that is done. And from there, let's go now and add questions. Remember, there are 3 tabs here. There's question, there's response, and there's setting. We are still on the question. So by default, an email is required on a form, but you can decide you don't want to gather email, and you can change it. For you to change it, you click on change settings, and then you can go down to the default for form, and then you can decide you don't want email to be part of what you are collecting. You can say, you can change it here and say I don't want emails, but let's leave it there for now. Let's go back to our questions. So next, you can add your questions. The question you select, there are different types of formats for questions. I'll show you each of them, but first you click on the untitled question, and then you can now type the question you want. So let me say I want to ask, have you ever used a size chart? If that is the question I want to ask, I type that as my first question, and then it becomes a question, and then I can decide how I want it to be responded to. I click on this. I can choose a short answer, a paragraph, or multiple choice, and the multiple choice can be check boxes or drop down, but I'll choose a short answer because it's a yes or no. So I choose a short answer, and that becomes it. So once my question is done, I can also add image to it. I can make it required or not. It depends on me. So you can also duplicate the item. You can remove it. You can put description. The easiest way to add question to more question is actually to duplicate. So I duplicate, then I can go ahead and change the question. I'll change it to, I can ask it, tell me your experience with size charts. So that one would require a longer response. I can decide and say, okay, paragraph. So I want the person to tell me a bit of story. So that is done. I can also add image to that question, and I can make it required or unrequired. So let me choose the third question, duplicate again. I can now go to the third question, and I ask the question, are size charts important? Are size charts important? So in this question now, I can give people an option. I choose multiple choice here. Just a minute. My form is okay. My form is not behaving, but I can choose to put multiple answers to it. Okay, let me just delete this and come back again. Let me remove it. Okay, so I still have 2 questions here now. So let me duplicate again. Then I will change the question. And the question I want to put there is, are size charts important? Are size charts important? Question mark. Then I choose to have it as a multiple choice. So the options here, I can say number 1 is yes. Number 1 is yes. I can add another option and say no. I can also add and say maybe. Okay. The third option, I can say maybe. So you can see that my questions are set. Okay, let me just show you I've shown you how to remove, just to click on remove, or how to duplicate. So once that is done, I have 3 questions now. My form looks good. My form is looking very good. I can decide to add an image to my question. Let me just add image to one of the questions so that we can see how that works. So I can upload, I'll browse, and it will go to my form, my gallery or my folder, and then I can pick a picture that I want to add from there. Maybe I pick on, let me pick a picture of a size chart. I say select. And you can see the picture in that question. Can you see that? The picture is in that question. See that number 1 question, number 2, number 3 has a size chart. So this will be important for exams. If you're writing exams and you want to choose, add an image to your questions, you can add. And then if I want an image to be in all of the questions, I can use this button at the bottom here, and then I'll add and it will be in all of it. So, but for now, I don't want that. So let's go back. So our size chart is, let me go to my forms so that I can get the size chart that I've created for you, because I've gone out of the form I was creating. I click on recent, and then this is the form I was creating. So I'm back where I was. So now you can see my form is created. So once your form is created, you can go up here, you can send, use the send button. You can send to anybody's email. You can send to people's email directly and put their email to who the subject is there, the message is there, and just send. And once you send it to go directly, you can also add editors to your form. Supposing you're an organization where you have more than one staff and you want your colleagues to be part of what you are doing, you can add them as editors so they can edit the form. And this is very useful in some cases where you are not in the same location and you are working on a project together. Maybe the form is a joint project, so they can now put in their input and then you can correct together. So that is something you can do. Once you've done that, once you finish sending, you've done that, you can send the form if you want to do that. Or else, you press these 3 buttons here. It brings a drop down and it gives you some options. You can start the form, you can redo the form, you can preview the form, you can make a copy, you can move to a folder, move to a bin, get a pre-filled link, print, add collaborators. So first, let's look at a preview of our form. So you can see how your form will look like at the end of the day. See how your form looks like at the end of the day. Can you see that? Can you see that? So it's a very pretty form. Your form will look very pretty once you are done. So that is done. Then you can also still come back here and you can decide to make a copy. You can move to the bin. But let me click on get a pre-filled link. So when you get the pre-filled link, you can use that to send to people instead of the email. You come here, you click on get link, and then you copy the link and you can now paste it. That's what I do most times. Copy the link and paste in the group so that people can use that link to fill the form. So once your form is done, you can do whatever you want to do with it. Then, if you want to get response, now this form, if you click on response, there's no response because it's a freshly formed form. We freshly created it, so there's no response. But there are some things you can do on the form. You can, create a spreadsheet for getting your response if you want. And there are some other things you can also do. On the form, you can also decide how you want your response to be. You can click on these 3 buttons. You can select the response destination. You can download your response. It depends on you. So let me go to the settings now so that we'll look at the settings. You can make it into a quiz, or you can decide how to manage the responses, how you want the response to be managed. You can also manage your presentation, how to view your form. Like I told you earlier on, by default, your form will collect emails and it will also make your questions required. But you can also change all of that if you don't want to. So let's go back here. Now I want to show you how the responses will appear. This form doesn't have responses, so you can't see responses here. But let me go to a form that I've used that has responses. Then I'll show you how to get responses. So let me use this form. This form has been used and it has some responses. So I have 49 responses on this form. So you can look at how it is presented. You can view it as a summary. Like this case is a summary. All the responses are on one page, or you can view it question by question. So it will show you answers, everybody's answer to every particular question, or you can also view it individually. Each individual's response will be presented to you. So you can see that for 1 out of 49. So you can click and click to get the one you want and to look at all of them. So that is how your forms will look at the end of the day. So that is Google Forms for you, and I'd like to encourage you to take out time and practice this and see how it works so that you too can create your own Google form. Thanks for being a part of this tutorial, and I'll love to hear from you. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask. And if there's anything you still haven't understood, I'll be glad to respond to you in the comments. And you can also contact me through my pages on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and I'd love to hear from you. Bye for now. Remember, I'm Laura Onibudi, the Ready to Wear Boss.